It's time for SEC Pigskin Picks, live from Catfish County, featuring Coach Billy Jack Hoover, Shelly Sizemore, and me, Professor Thorndike Sinclair. As always, we're broadcasting from the Beaver Dam Roadside Tavern. During the next few minutes, we'll pick the winners of this week's SEC games. Plus, Shelly will bring us a live report from the Slobber Knocker Game of the Week. Here now is Coach Billy Jack Hoover.
Well, thank you, Professor. First of all, we were pitiful last week. We went 8-4, 29-6 for the season. And a couple of the teams made us look real dumb. Let's start with Kentucky, who somehow managed to lose to Western Kentucky. I'm not sure what Joker Phillips is doing up there, but he's sure giving the other team plenty to laugh about. Get it, Professor? Joker Phillips, other team laughing.
If your coaching career ever goes in the tank, you'll always have comedy to fall back on.
That's nice of you to say, Professor.
We also missed the Missouri-Arizona State game, the Auburn-Louisiana-Monroe game, and the Tennessee-Florida game.
Yeah, the Knoxville Police Department warned fans 3 days before the game that if they rushed the field after the Vols beat the Gators, that they would be arrested for inciting a riot. At the time, I thought that was a pretty stupid thing to them to say, but I figured out later it was a trick.
Is that so?
Yeah, they were really planning to arrest Tennessee for impersonating a football team, but the Vols escaped at halftime. A clean getaway, never to be seen again all night long. I just hope Derek Dooley didn't throw away his insulated Fruit of the Looms because the heat just got turned up on his seat again. Let's make the Tennessee-Akron game the first slacker game of the week. Tennessee wins, but they still ain't got nothing to be proud of. Who else do we have, Professor?
South Alabama will lose to Mississippi State. South Carolina State will get pummeled by Texas A&M. Ole Miss will beat Tulane, and Florida will beat Kentucky. What about Florida Atlantic at Alabama, Coach? Amari Cooper caught a TD pass for Alabama, and Eddie Lacy ran for 3 against the Hogs. Alabama has won its last 2 by a combined score of 87-0.
This would be a perfect time for me to say they'll score 87 on Saturday, so I will.
Speaking of Arkansas, they entertained Rutgers on Saturday. Rutgers is 3-0, and they're only allowing 8 points per game.
That's true, but they play in the Big East, otherwise known as the Conference of Slackers. It won't be easy, but I say Tyler Wilson gets back in the game and the Hogs somehow find enough heart to win one that was slated to be a slacker game before this disastrous season began.
Are we thinking LSU is going to stay perfect against Auburn Saturday?
Auburn should be sky high. I'm trying to be sarcastic, Professor. They should be sky high after that decisive victory against Louisiana-Monroe on Saturday, winning by a field goal in overtime against a Sun Belt Conference team. Well, why don't we just jump straight to the NFL?
LSU by 1 million?
Check.
Vandy usually plays Georgia close, but this year, Georgia is a top 10 team, and Vandy is still Vandy.
You're right, Professor. Vandy beat Presbyterian like a drum, while Georgia whipped FAU. The Georgia defense is allowing 21 points a game, and 2 of those games were FAU and Buffalo. I say Vandy scores 20, but Aaron Murray leads the Dogs to 28 or more.
So Georgia stays perfect heading into its matchup with Tennessee on September 29.
You got it, Professor. Now get Shelly Sizemore on the phone, if you please. She's live from Columbia, South Carolina, for this week's Slobber Knocker Game of the Week, South Carolina versus Missouri. All right, while Professor Sinclair gets Shelly Sizemore on the phone, I want to remind you to go on Twitter and follow me at Coach Billy J. That's at Coach Billy J. And then follow Shelly at Shelly Sizemore. And that's Chely Sizemore. All right, slackers, we're back with SEC Pigskin Picks, broadcasting live from the Beaver Dam Roadside Tavern. We're joined now by Miss Shelly Sizemore, who is relaxing in her hotel room in beautiful Columbia, South Carolina. Shelly, how's it going?
Resting comfortable, my foot. I got in the room, the tub's leaking, drip, drip, drip. The remote control quit working with the TV stuck on one of those Mexican soap operas. Have you seen how those people dress? They're all half naked and sweaty all the time. Well, that part ain't so bad. But the worst part is I can't understand a dang thing they're saying. But that ain't the half of it, Coach.
What else is wrong?
Now my door is stuck. It won't open. I'm starving to death, and the only thing to eat in here is a $26 bag of macadamia nuts. I ain't got $26, Coach.
Have you called the front desk?
They don't care. They're all outside at the Gamecock pep rally.
Well, speaking of Gamecocks, talk about South Carolina versus Missouri.
Well, South Carolina quarterback Connor Shaw re-injured his shoulder in the Gamecock victory against UAB Saturday. Dylan Thompson filled in and finished 5 of 10 for 177 yards. But Steve Spurrier knows Thompson isn't ready to lead his team during a brutal 7-game SEC stretch. Meanwhile, Missouri has quarterback problems of their own. James Franklin didn't play during his team's big win over Arizona State Saturday. Corbin Bergstresser filled in nicely, though, and TJ Moe hauled in 8 passes for 88 yards. Look for Franklin to return Saturday, but the Tigers won't be able to stay with Spurrier's Gamecocks. South Carolina wins. And speaking of... Okay, well, never mind. I gotta go, Coach. This Mexican soap opera's starting to get good.
Can you understand what they're saying now, Shelley?
Not a bit, but I think they're falling in love. I wonder what happened to his shirt.
Good luck, Shelley. And so long from the Beaver Dam Roadside Tavern. For Professor Thorndike Sinclair, this is Coach Billy Jack Hoover. Now remember to follow me on Twitter at Coach Billy J, and follow Shelley at Shelley Sizemore. That's Chely Sizemore. Now give me 20, slackers.